Hello.
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 How's it going?
Pretty
Great.
good.
Is it great? Is everything great in the world right now?
No, but we'll.
We have to wait a whole year before we can have some decent movies celebrated.
Us comes out in 3 weeks, so.
Dude,
look
okay,
forward to
hang
that.
on. Really quick, because I'm going to get into this right now because I'm freaking stoked about this. Hello and welcome to episode, 23 of We Watch Movies and Then Talk About Them, the only podcast on the internet where we watch a movie and then talk about it. There may be other podcasts where people watch movies and talk about it, but this is the only one that we do it. My name is Andrew Westonsko. I am the host of this here podcast, joined as always by Becca at my right hand,
Hello.
and at my slightly left hand, but mostly across from me, by Sid.
Hello.
And we're going to be taking you on a magical journey today discussing Danny Boyle's Sunshine. But before that...
That was a very fast intro.
I know, I've got it down at this point. Before that, holy crap, is 2019 going to be a great year for horror movies?
It's going to be pretty good. Yeah.
So, we have High Life coming out, which I think is going to be kind of a sci-fi horror. I don't know.
Yeah.
In any
think.
case, haven't watched the trailer, have no idea if it looks good. I'm going to go see it.
It does look good.
That's great. Us comes out very soon. We've recently had the official announcement for Midsummer, which is Ari Aster's new film following up last year's breakout hit Hereditary, his directorial debut.
Becca's favorite movie
Becca's
of
favorite
all
movie
time.
of all time. We also have The Lighthouse, which is the follow-up from, I forget his name, but it's the guy who directed The Witch. It's great.
Man,
we have
I'm going to hate these movies.
We have the remake of Child's Play coming out. We have It Chapter 2 coming out. It's going to be a great year for horror movies because all of these, I'm sure, will be fantastic.
They better be. Or
I'm-
all is lost.
I'm unrealistically excited for the remake of Child's Play. I think it's going to be great.
I've never seen any of them.
Neither have I. But like, I love I think Chucky is hilarious.
There's also
as a character.
Remake of Pet Cemetery.
That's right. I forgot about that one. There's just 2019 is going to be a great year for horror movies. Becca's going to love it. We're going to go see all of them, and it's going to be fantastic.
I'm excited for a couple of them. Most of them I will probably not like.
I can't wait for boring biopics to win all of the Oscars again.
Bleh.
You think they'd be running out of people at this point?
Everyone's dead already. Just make up a new story.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Really quick, in case I forget as well, I promise we are going to actually talk about Sunshine today. But before I forget, I want to give a shout out because I'm sure that I am behind the 8 ball on this one, but I discovered a new YouTube channel this week. Patrick H. Willems is the name of the YouTube channel. He does.
I think I just discovered that one too.
Really?
Yeah.
He does like slightly long form video essays. They're like 20-30 minutes long.
Did you watch he did the Wrong with Music biopics?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I had that recommended to me, and I was like, this is interesting. And I've just been binging his videos for the last week.
Yeah,
because
they're really good.
He did a really interesting 2-part series on why Michael Bay is one of the greatest American directors. He did a good one that I just watched on why James Cameron is the best action director. I don't know that I know enough straight up action directors to dispute the fact, but it was an interesting video. He did one, which I still disagree on, about why Star Wars Episode 8 is the best Star Wars since Empire Strikes Back and like an actually good movie. And I have my disagreements with his theories, but whatever. He does a good job explaining it.
Yeah, I watched the music one and then why Marvel movies look so ugly.
I didn't watch that one. He had one come out just a couple days ago, maybe yesterday even, that was like the problems with the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one yet.
That one was really good.
Yeah, the why Marvel's ugly was like 3 years old, so it's an old one.
Yeah. But yeah, so I wanted to shout that out to anybody
really
out
good.
there. He's got like 1 million subscribers, so he's not anything new.
Yeah.
I just discovered him because of his Bohemian Rhapsody video, and I thought it was quite good. I got into a discussion with my sister about the night of the Oscars. We got into a slight argument about why I thought Bohemian Rhapsody wasn't deserving of any of the Oscars it got nominated for, except for
Because
Rami Malek.
It's not.
And I was just pointing out a bunch of things, and she's like, well, like those are all things that are just like part of the biopic genre. Like you can't hold it. The things that I had against Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Yeah.
She's like, you can't hold that against Bohemian Rhapsody and then give other movies a pass. And I kind of started thinking about that, and then I watched his video, and I was like, man, like maybe I just don't watch a lot of biopics, or maybe I do have more beef with these than I thought I did, because like I should have loved like Darkest Hour, for example, and I thought the cinematography was incredible in that movie, and obviously Gary Oldman did a great job, but like I forgot about it.
Yeah. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, so like I kind of started thinking about it, and I think I just don't love biopics.
I don't really think I like them that much either, but I mean, watching his video, you can definitely see why some versions are better than others.
Well, and like Imitation Game was nominated for like a bajillion Oscars.
Yeah.
And I thought that movie was painfully average.
I think in terms of like all the other biopics that I can even think of, I think I like it more than others. But
I mean, Bandersnatch has good charisma, and it's Keira Knightley in that, right?
Yeah.
I like her in pretty much anything.
I don't know. I just think, I don't know, biopics are just like, they're just kind of boring, really.
Yeah, Becca and I have been talking about this. I think that my movie tastes are slowly more and more skewing towards, I guess, the outlandish, you could say. I like weird things a lot, and so like these down home, down to earth stories about real people overcoming extreme odds, like just don't do it for me, because there's no like witches. I really.
And it's not like in another language or like hard to watch.
Exactly. Like I sit down and watch just like an easy mass consumer movie, and I'm just like, stop pandering to me.
But I mean, there are like, you know, like Schindler's List or The Pianist or
I haven't seen either of those.
I've seen both. I mean, both of them are about the Holocaust, so I guess that's kind of a bummer. But like, there are definitely ones that are more interesting stories.
Honestly, though, you were getting Steven Spielberg at the height of his powers, though, for Schindler's List.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of Steven Spielberg at the moment, so.
Explain.
He's really rallying against Netflix.
Oh, go suck it, Steven Spielberg. But that doesn't dismiss him as one of the
I know, but I'm
most
just
important and best
mad at
filmmakers of
him
all
right
time.
now. I'm just mad.
And then, I mean, The Pianist, you have, unfortunately,
But then-
Roman Polanski.
Yeah, that's true. But then there's like The Social Network and what else is on here? Like Amadeus. Raging Bull.
I don't consider Amadeus a biopic, though.
I've never actually seen it.
Amadeus is so freaking good. It's on my potential 10 list.
Wow.
I think it might be, it's up there with Boyhood as far as a movie that's 3 hours long that I watched it and thought it was like 45 minutes.
Wow.
We need to watch Amadeus. It is
'Kay.
so good. I mean, it came out in like 1980,
Mm-hmm.
but it holds up so freaking well. The performances are incredible. It's not even about Mozart. Like, Mozart is a supporting character in it. It's so good. It's so good.
We'll have to give that one a watch.
Yeah. We'll talk about this maybe a little bit more, because I have a revisionist corner for the end of this episode.
Ooh.
Let's get into it, though. Today, we are discussing, I promise. Hey, here's the thing. If you're a returning listener, you're coming back for the tangents.
Yeah. That's the funnest part.
How often do we actually stay on topic? Rarely, if ever.
Never.
Today we're talking about Danny Boyle's 2007 sci-fi horror monster movie, Sunshine, starring Chris Evans' sideburns.
The best star you could get.
Yes.
I don't know if he actually was. There was a quick frame towards the end of the movie where, I mean, it was maybe a 3-second shot, and I would have sworn to you that he was a mid-2000s American Eagle model. It seemed like he had the like 2 baggy jeans and like blue polo with the white undershirt, and I would have, bet $1 million he had a puka shell necklace on, and he had the buzzed head with the side. This guy, like 2007 was a weird time for Chris Evans.
But it's never been bad for him. He's always been beautiful. Even in Fantastic Four, he's still good.
Flame on. Sunshine is the story of Chris Evans' sideburns
And Cillian Murphy's mullet.
Cillian Murphy's mullet. Can you tell the guy hasn't had a haircut for 16 months?
He could cut it in the zombie apocalypse, but he can't cut it in space.
No, the doctors cut it for him.
What?
Hey, he comes out of the hospital. His head's
Oh.
buzzed.
He shaves in the zombie apocalypse.
That's
That's it. Okay.
He makes a big deal out of shaving.
Okay. All right.
As if it matters. If you're trying to seduce the attractive woman who has taken you under her wing, being all sliced up is going to be better than having a kind of patchy beard. Come on, dude. I know you're just a courier, but get with it. Sunshine is the story of Chris Evans' sideburns flying a bomb into the heart of our very own sun in an attempt to restart it. This movie takes place about 40 years from now, and I don't think that we're at risk of our sun dying in the next 30 years.
It's more
Probably
the
not.
Earth that's going to die first, but
Just the polar bears.
I don't like that either.
It's a good thing that we gave Leonardo DiCaprio an Oscar, because I'm sure he would just commit suicide on camera in his next film. She'd be like, "I'm committed to the role."
On the new Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he just kills himself.
That's coming out this year.
Yes.
And The Irishman
Yes.
is coming out. That commercial during the Oscars was
So
so good. 2019 is looking good, people.
Let's pray, everyone.
Let's pray.
Let's pray. Let us all join hands.
Let's pray for it to be August so that we can all go see Midsummer. Because I don't even care about anything else. I just want to see that movie so bad. It's a freaking... It's about a pagan festival that these two people go to, and things go awry, and it's supposed to be more effed up than Hereditary was.
Oh boy.
Blessings.
Thank you!
Thank you, Ari
Oh
Aster.
no.
I cannot wait.
I'm sure it'll be really good, and I'm sure that I will not like it.
Oh, but you're going to go see it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Maybe there will be less naked people.
Maybe.
I think it's a coin toss, honestly.
I don't know. Pagan ritual sounds pretty naked.
Yes.
That's true. Okay. Sunshine stars Chris Evans' sideburns flying a bomb into the heart of the dying sun. It also has Cillian Murphy and a bunch of other people that I do not know and have not seen in anything else.
Yes. What?
Who's the cute girl?
Rose Byrne.
What's she in? I know she's in things.
She's been in, she was in, like, the First Class X-Men.
Yikes.
She was in Insidious. And, like, Bridesmaids. She's kind of... It's only, like, in the last few years that she's actually gotten famous. Also, Benedict Wong. I didn't know.
Is that Benedict
Yeah,
Wong?
I didn't know
dude
that was
lost-
him.
That dude lost some
Oh.
weight.
I know. He looked totally different.
Yeah.
And then, pretty much the only other two that I recognize are Pinbacker, the bad guy
Oh,
from
but
the...
you don't even see him.
Yeah.
Who plays him?
Mark Strong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the other one, I kind of recognize Cliff Curtis, the, like, psychiatrist guy. But mostly that's from The Meg, which is not the most prestigious thing you want to be recognized for.
You mean that didn't make Rainn Wilson's career just take off?
We all wish it could have, but no. And then the other one...
These four struggling Office stars, man.
It's true.
Even Steve Carell is having a hard time getting out from the shadow of The Office.
It's true. And then the other one I recognize is Michelle Yeoh. She was in Crazy Rich Asians.
No, I didn't actually see that.
Yeah, and she presented at some of, like, the Oscars.
Oh, well, there you go. this movie is kind of a mid-period movie for Mr. Danny Boyle. Returning listeners of this podcast will know that he is currently my favorite director. I love Danny Boyle. It was also notably written by Alex Garland, also the writer of 28 Days Later, and writer and director of both Ex Machina and Annihilation.
We're a fan.
We like Alex Garland.
That we are.
So I have some hot takes on this. Becca, I'd like to hear your hot takes first on Sunshine. Now, just to remind you guys, this is Becca's third time seeing this movie.
Yes, it is.
She couldn't remember if she had watched it.
What? Yes, I knew I'd watched it. I just thought I'd only watched it once, not twice.
Oh, okay. It is our third time watching it together. So
Yes, that is true. And it's amazing. Am I going?
yeah, you're up.
Okay. I really love this movie. It's just the colors, I think, are my favorite part of it. The colors are amazing, and there's like a lot of contrast in colors. So the cinematography and a lot of the effects, I guess, are really cool. So as it being my third time watching it, I definitely love it. It's very hot, like the sun.
You're hot. Oh, jeez.
Oh, woo. And yeah, I love it. It's a good movie.
Right on. Sid.
I liked this one. Halfway through, I wasn't crazy about it. I thought it was just kind of run of the mill sci-fi movie. But more towards the end and the last 3/4, they throw in some crazy plot twists, and it's also very sentimental and heartfelt. My favorite part of it is the music, and the music is fantastic. Yeah, I just think it's great. I really liked it.
Righto. This is my fourth time watching this, I think. I think I watched it once without you. And I first discovered this movie when Interstellar came out in, 2013? Is that when that came out?
Yes, I want to say.
Did it seriously? That was
Let's see.
6 years ago.
Wow.
Let's see.
One more quick shout out to the IMDb app.
2014.
Okay. To the IMDb app for now having search history. Because I, during the course of watching a movie, will search for the same thing 6 times, but I'm OCD about closing my apps. So then I open the app back up, and what I'm looking for is right there. So thank you, IMDb, for finally introducing search history. It didn't used to have it. Now, so this is my fourth time seeing this movie, and first discovered it when Interstellar came out because BuzzFeed, of all things, back when I read BuzzFeed, came out with an article that said that Sunshine was interstellar before Interstellar was interstellar. And so this movie coming into my life is probably the only good thing that BuzzFeed has ever provided for anybody. You should close your doors and shut down your website because you are a cancer on the internet. But I also think that the person who wrote that article might have been just being a huge contrarian and or under the influence of some illicit substances, because apart from taking place in space, I don't think these movies have
They're so
anything in
different.
common.
No, not really.
And I think that it does this movie a disservice to compare it to Interstellar, which is one of the better sci-fi films ever made, I think.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have for a long time said that this was my favorite Danny Boyle film. And I think that's changing.
Yeah.
I think that I maybe was a little too hot on this movie. That's not to say that it's bad. And I agree with Sid that it seriously picks up speed as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first half is a 6. And then the second half gets a lot better. What I most noticed about this movie and most appreciated about it is how clearly it was essential for both Alex Garland and Danny Boyle in their filmmaking careers. How Danny Boyle, I don't think would have been able to make 127 hours without making this movie first. There's so many similarities between this movie and that movie from a style perspective. So I think that what I noticed most about it this time was the directing, and how that leads into kind of the golden age of Danny Boyle films that I believe that we are living in now, with movies such as 127 Hours and Steve Jobs. Which, hot take, I do think now that Steve Jobs is probably his best film.
All right.
That's just me. I loved the cinematography in this. I loved the directing. The performances were a little all over the place, to be honest. I think that Chris Evans and Cillian Murphy do a great job. I think that the guy who plays the psychiatrist does a great job. I think that everybody else kind of drops the ball a little bit, to be totally honest. And I think that the screenplay maybe could have done with another run through.
It had 35 revisions on the script.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So what's 36,
Yeah. I don't know. Some of the dialogue was just a little clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most notable exception being when the ship is like creaking because the panels are expanding or contracting or whatever, and the botanist lady, or Chris Evans, is like, "Oh, it's just the metal expanding and contracting." The botanist lady is like, "I know what it is, flyboy," and then the scene cuts. Like, that's the ending line in the scene. It's like, that's totally out of character for you.
Yeah.
And also, it's not a very good line. But as we know, even moving on to movies such as Annihilation, Alex Garland is no stranger to clunky dialogue. He's really good at characters. He's good at setting up scenarios and exploring themes. But he maybe needs to hire a new human being to read through his scripts and be like, people don't talk like that.
He's just so used to writing about robots that he's like,
He writes a great
talk.
robot in Ex
Yeah.
Machina. Ex Machina
Yeah,
is
that's-
probably his best screenplay.
I would say so. But yeah, he's just gotten like robot speak like human, and then that's how his script comes out.
Exactly. But overall, I do quite enjoy this movie. And I think the things that I'm saying might make it sound like I don't like it. I do. I like it a lot. I was just a little bit let down from my memory of it.
Happens to the best of us.
So what were your guys' favorite parts about this movie?
Well, my favorite part is just like the colors. Like, I love almost any movie about space just because space is cool.
Space is cool.
So even if it's like a bad movie, I think it's still fun to watch movies about space. And I thought that
Like Space Jam.
Oh no.
Come on and slap! Becca loves Space Jam.
Every space
Loves
movie
it.
but that one.
Space Jam 2 is coming out this year.
Woo. Oh no.
I don't think the Looney Tunes are at the same level of power that they were at when
definitely
Space Jam
not.
1 came out.
Nope.
Well, okay. So I will rephrase that. Most movies about space, I
Technically-
very much
Technically,
enjoy.
Space Jam is not about space. So.
It's true. Yeah. Anyway,
I'd be like saying Office Space is about space just because that's space in it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think like all the scenes with the sun is really, really cool. Like in the observation room and when they're like fixing the panels, like I just think that like the colors are amazing and the use of colors from the sun is really cool in this movie.
Amen. Yeah, visually, this movie's stunning for the most part.
Yeah.
I think it does a really good job of mixing kind of Danny Boyle's really kinetic and hectic directing style with some really effective establishing shots and wide angles of different things. And for the most part, for this coming out in 2007, and I don't think it was... I mean, what was the budget on this? Let me find out. Budget $26 million. That's not a lot.
That's in euros,
Pounds.
pounds, whatever.
Yikes. In any case. And it did not make a lot of money.
Ooh.
Yikes. The CGI looks great for the most part.
Yeah.
I think that the oh gosh, gosh, what did I just rewatch that had really bad CGI? I don't remember. We'll talk about it, I'm sure. Oh, I saw it was in a video I was watching on YouTube. It showed a clip from 28 Days Later.
Oh.
And the freaking green screens in that movie are atrocious, and I don't know how we didn't notice that when we did it for the podcast. But he does a really good job here, considering that he's only 5 years removed from that. I mean, this is obviously much higher budget than 28 Days Later. Yeah, I think it's visually stunning. I think that a lot of the things they do with shadows and silhouettes specifically are awesome. And I think thinking about it now, I think that probably my favorite thing about it though is probably the screenplay. And that's clunky dialogue aside, because I think it does a good job at setting things up. And I love that this movie is a sci-fi movie, but it's also like at the same time like kind of a horror movie, kind of a monster movie, kind of a cult movie, like.
But you don't realize it. It just kind of sneaks it in there.
You don't realize that it's a cult movie until like most of the way through. It's like what would happen if you had the cult leader, the charismatic cult leader, and their like number one follower, but then there were just like no other people. But they were just like left alone for a long time. I don't know. What about you, Sid?
Yeah, I think probably my favorite part was the screenplay, because you watch a space movie and you expect things to go wrong. Oh, it's crazy, things are breaking down. But this one, I could see why someone would draw comparisons between Interstellar and this, is that it's, I don't know, it just throws into the mix stuff that you don't really expect in a space movie. You don't expect the captain of this one that went down 7 years ago to still be alive and to be this disfigured monster who comes and kills everyone.
Yeah, I mean, now that you think about it, that's kind of Matt Damon. And
yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, like, Gravity. Great movie.
Great movie.
We love Alfonso. He's the best.
Alfonso's the best.
He deserves so much more. But, honestly, it's just kind of like, it's a very slow movie. And
Gravity?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Okay, it has been a few years since I've seen it. But, like, there's no, like, surprise murderer on the ship.
Oh, no.
So it's where some movies like Gravity maybe just like a, better screenplay, better just movie kind of directing. But this one it's more entertaining and it's more, I guess, fun to watch.
This movie is very entertaining.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought about somewhere through the movie is, like, I can't imagine a world in which these are the most qualified people to take on this mission.
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, none of these people, like, none of them seem like scientists or experts at all.
Exactly. So that's the thing, is I think that this movie does require a pretty decent suspension of disbelief. And if we're suspending our disbelief to the point that we can believe the sun is burning out in 30 years, then...
And believe that the only qualified person to do this is the most attractive man, Chris Evans. Like, they're not going to be that hot in real life.
That's fair.
They're not.
And, like, they're not going to be freaking beanpoles like Cillian Murphy. There's that scene where he's in his tank top. Yeah. And you can see his arms are, like, emaciated. Like, I'm like, isn't it super physically demanding to go to space? Like, wouldn't this man break? But yeah, I think it's a good sci-fi movie. It really is.
Yeah.
And one thing that I am split on, though, I'm not sure if I like it or I don't like it, because there was a lot of like, hey moments, but also they got a little distracting, where the callbacks to 2001. I don't know how many of them.
I don't know if I noticed.
A lot of them were visual, but also I'm talking like, launching yourself back into the ship through an exploding airlock.
Yeah.
And there was several shots of the airlock where it's just like this pristine white circle.
Uh-huh.
Calling back to that scene, the famous shot where he's walking down the hallway and it's octagonal and everything is white and he's in his red suit. I think AI in a lot of ways, called back to HAL. I think that the room with the payload in it looked intensely like the room where HAL is kept on the
That's
spaceship.
true.
So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of it, and I get it. Like 2001, kind of the gold standard there as far as sci-fi movies go. So that's why I say like I liked it, but I also found it a bit distracting at times. Also, like this, and they played with it a little bit, but there was twice where like people are floating off into space, which is one of my favorite shots from 2001.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
I did think about 2001 while we were watching this. I didn't realize until now how much I thought about it. Now that you're bringing up all these things.
Yeah, and this is just off the top of my head. I'm sure that there's more. So I don't know how I feel about that because, I mean, as long as we're comparing it to Interstellar, Interstellar does a lot of callbacks to 2001 as well. Especially, I mean, and I guess different ones like the robots in 2001 look exactly like the monolith, and the whole like wormhole scene is really similar, and I don't know. So, but that's what I'm saying. I'm split on it because I like them because I think it's fun, but they also were a bit distracting to me at times.
Okay. I don't think they were distracting for me, but I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think if I had seen 2001 before watching this, I told you I haven't seen this. We were going to watch it a few weeks ago.
That's right.
Yeah, if I were to have seen this and been aware, because like in the trivia it says that Danny Boyle draws a lot of inspiration from it.
Boom!
I would have definitely noticed it more. But I mean, you know, if you're not really made aware, you may not notice it.
Even the design of the ship is really similar to the design of the ship in 2001.
Yeah.
Where it's like fat at one end and skinny down the line.
Yeah. I thought the design of the ship was really cool.
The design of the ship is awesome.
I loved the like plant room.
The oxygen,
Oxygen garden. That's what it's called. I thought that was really cool. And another like really good contrast of color to just see all this green in space.
They bring a surprising amount of color into a movie that takes place on a spaceship.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of making the spaceship feel huge.
Yeah.
I think it feels gigantic.
Mm-hmm. Like, it just made me want to, like, walk around this ship that doesn't exist and see what it's like.
Right? No, I totally agree with you. Okay, who's your favorite characters? This is like a personality test, right? I am BuzzFeed now.
Pick your favorite Sunshine characters.
Which Sunshine character are you?
We'll tell you which dessert you are. Let's find out. Becca, who's your favorite?
Who's your favorite?
I don't know who my favorite is because I like them all and hate them all at certain points. Like, in the beginning, I don't really like Chris Evans, but by the end, I like him a lot. And Cillian Murphy, I really liked in the beginning, and then there were times throughout the movie where I was just like, nah, he's a wimp and whatever, and I don't care about him. So I don't know if I even have a favorite. It just depends on what part of the movie I'm watching.
You are tiramisu.
Really? I was going to say frozen yogurt because she's so indecisive. She shouldn't just pick and
put
choose.
it all.
Well, I was going to say tiramisu because there's layers and they're distinctly separated, just like the different points of the movie where she likes different characters.
Right.
Wow. Go work for BuzzFeed.
Thank you. BuzzFeed, I don't have a job right now. If you need someone to write your quizzes, let's do it.
You'd be good at it.
All right, Sid.
I would say my favorite is Chris Evans. I mean, he is a jerk in the beginning and you don't like him, but it doesn't take too long till you can realize that he's the most practical one and everything he's saying makes sense. And I don't know. I just think he's a very good character. And his sideburns are great. What am I?
Molten lava cake.
All right. Sweet.
Because he's smoldering hot.
Very true.
Holy cow, people. What were you going to say, Becca?
Oh, I was just going to say about Chris Evans. I think the best moment for his character is when they're on the other ship and he puts Kappa. That's Cillian Murphy's name, right? he puts him in the suit
Mm-hmm.
because he's the most important. Like that shows that, yeah, like what you said, Sid, like even if he comes across as a jerk, like he's the same the entire time.
Mhm.
And the most important thing is getting the payload to the sun.
Yeah, because earlier when they're trying to decide if they should even go to the other ship, it kind of just seems like he doesn't want to because he wants to live, which of course everyone wants to, and he would rather get the payload there and have a chance of maybe getting back. But after that scene, you can see that like he only cares about the mission, and you know he would even die to get it done. So
See, it's interesting that you said that when I was talking about qualifications of the characters, and you said that it's unlikely that the most attractive man would be the most qualified. But I got to tell you, I think the only person qualified to be on that ship is Chris Evans.
you know,
I do agree
Yeah.
with that.
yeah, probably true.
He is the only person that actually should have been there. Everybody else had some gigantic personality flaw that I feel like immediately would have made them just not able to go on this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the psychologist guy bugged me really bad. Like,
Because he's crazy?
yeah, I was like, he's not a psychologist.
Because he's actually insane. And then Kappa is like an indecisive little whiny boy.
Yeah.
The captain, the first one who died, he probably deserved to be there.
Yeah.
The second
Harvey,
captain.
is that his name?
Yeah.
Oh, he was awful.
Dude, Harvey wasn't kicked in the nuts enough as a kid. Like sometimes you get knocked down, but you get up again. And you tell them you're never gonna knock me down. That's a Chumbawamba reference for all of the kids out there. Showing my age a bit.
I know that song.
Okay, good.
You're not that old.
There's any like 16-year-olds out there listening that like what? 21 Savage? I don't know what 16-year-olds talk about. And yeah, so Chris Evans is absolutely the best character in this movie because he's the only one that deserves to be on that ship, and he's the only reason that it even succeeds in the end. Like everybody else is such indecisive little whiny babies. Like, oh no, my friend might die. Like they're literally freaking when they're deciding whether or not to kill Benedict Wong.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, you can't have my vote. It's like, you're literally going to plummet into the sun, little girl. Like
everybody is
Like-
going to die no matter what.
He's gonna
right.
die
Like,
anyway.
you've got a death warrant and it's signed and you're going to die. Like, if this guy dying means that the rest of the world lives, like, it's not even a decision. And even like when they're talking about whether or not to, like, whether to go off course and rendezvous with the Icarus One, which there's something to be said for naming your ship intended to fly close to the sun but not too close, the Icarus. Not a great naming choice, boys. And then when the first one fails, they're like, send another Icarus. But he's like, when they're like, oh, the Icarus One is here, and he's like, we're not doing it, it's not even a discussion. The captain's like, well, maybe it's a discussion. And the psychiatrist is like, well, I just want to stare at the sun for the rest of my life, so maybe we should go rendezvous with the Icarus. And then, like, the little devil on his shoulder stops talking, and he's like, we could get another bomb. It's just so ridiculous. Like, I feel like Chris Evans, there's a subreddit that's called Am I the Asshole? And it's just people posting situations where they feel like they're in the right, but they're curious if they're not. I feel like Chris Evans could just, like, angry type out this entire thing and then be like, am I the asshole here? Like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, he's just, like, so clearly the only one making rational decisions. And the rest of the crew is like, nah, yeah, let's just gamble all of humanity for the 8 of us. Like, that's what I'm saying. But they're so wildly unqualified for this mission. Like,
Yeah.
and Chris Evans is the only one that's like, guys, literally billions of people. There's 8 of us. There was 8 of them. Like, that's 16 people that potentially die for billions of people.
And we all signed up for this.
Right? Like, I feel like they would have had to go through, like, preliminary psychological counseling to be like, listen, 80% chance you're dead at the end of this. So maybe don't send the frail little girl.
Well, it was probably conducted by the psychiatrist, and he was like, "You want to fly into the sun?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, let's do it. So it probably wasn't that great of a psychological evaluation.
Like, that's what I'm saying. This movie requires a lot of suspension of disbelief because it's easy to just get caught up in the ridiculousness of it.
It's amazing they even got as far as they did where the movie started. Like, they had to get a pretty far away to get there.
Well, I think that actually I believe that because the difference is that the movie starts with them losing contact with Earth.
That's true.
So, like, as much as they were like, we're on our own out here, like 16 months just floating in space. I don't know why they became Eeyore, but but then when they really become alone and just kind of stuck with each other, that's when the movie starts, right?
Yeah.
So they've been getting messages from home for over a year. And
That's fair.
yeah, it's when they lose contact with their family that the movie kicks off. So I believe that like things get a little more tense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's weird because Kappa in this is a really, really, really passive protagonist. I think that he's supposed to be the protagonist. I feel like Chris Evans is, honestly.
Yeah.
But Cillian Murphy doesn't do much.
I know. I wanted him to be more, like, sure of himself and just, yeah, more like Chris Evans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't need to because we had Chris Evans. So I guess
True.
that's the thing. Is like they sacrificed realism for more interesting character dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Blah.
They like they gave all the characters like kind of a background.
Mm-hmm.
And with Cillian Murphy's character, his is that he's like so self-conscious that he's not like an astronaut and that he's just a physicist.
Mm.
And so that's like, I think that attributes to a lot of him just like kind of letting things happen.
That's fair.
Yeah.
This just came to my mind. So when I said that they sacrificed realism for character dynamics, one of the greatest space movies of all time does not do this. And granted, it's a smaller cast. Apollo 13. Have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna start pulling Apollo 13 every single time that we go to do a podcast because that movie is gosh darn fantastic.
Okay.
Not to ruin too much of it, but they are all of the characters involved are like very clearly, absolutely, fanatically brilliant and incredibly boring people. But the screenplay and the directing and everything and the acting is so phenomenal that like they keep you engaged for the whole movie. So I think it's possible, but maybe it's just, I mean, it's definitely more difficult. And I get with like they're meant to explore different things, right? So like this movie explores very different themes from something like Apollo 13. So they needed the character dynamics. Like I get why they did it. It's just a little fun to make fun of. And I can give them a pass on it. Because this movie is one of the more interesting explorations of the idea of if you stare into the void long enough, it begins to stare back, or however that, or what is it? What's that saying? Do you guys know?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Nope.
Okay. So Nietzsche said it. From Quora.com, which is essentially Yahoo Answers in 2019. It says here, what did Nietzsche mean when he said, quote, if you stare into the abyss stares back at you? And somebody writes an
Whoa.
essay.
That is long.
Let's see. Whatever. The idea basically, let's see. Hang on. Give me 1 second. We're just going to pause this. And we're back. Sorry, I had to do some on-the-spot research. Really intense, right? I just had to Google around a little bit to find somebody who can explain this better than I can. So the full quote here from Nietzsche is, "Whoever fights with monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster in the process. And when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." Now, this is explanation of the quote. This is on the Explain Like I'm 5 subreddit from the user Carmela Macchiato. Pretty great name.
All right.
He says, "I don't think that Nietzsche's intent, based on other writings, was to suggest that the abyss is negativity or something inherently good or evil. Rather, that taking an interest in / having a morbid curiosity with emptiness or lack or the, quote, void, eventually causes an actual shift in consciousness, which you no longer have the autonomy to just walk away from. The passive act of contemplation becomes the interactive process of transformation."
I think that really applies to the psychiatrist.
Yeah. Well, and the captain of Icarus One, right? So that's the really interesting thing about exploring this theme with this movie, is that we get to see it kind of happen in the beginning stages with the psychiatrist, where he's just like in the observation room just staring at the sun, and he just becomes fascinated with it.
And he even talks about how darkness is the absence of light. So.
And then even when the captain is about to die, the psychiatrist starts asking, "What do you see?"
Yeah, which
Like-
is phenomenal. One of the better moments in the movie.
Yeah. And it's so, this quote's so interesting with this movie because those scenes in the observation room are so pretty to watch. And like you kind of, like, those are some of my favorite scenes. And then like you see like his face is slowly getting more and more sunburned
Yeah.
the more it goes.
There's the scene, I don't remember what they're talking about, but they're all in the kind of the it looks like almost like a cafeteria or something. And he's just like picking skin off of his forehead.
Yeah.
Did you guys, I don't know if you guys noticed that. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was gross.
Well, it was gross.
Yeah.
Not as gross as when they completely de-glove the bad guy's arm.
Ugh.
You guys want to really, their listeners, you want to really vomit sometime, go look up degloving.
Ugh.
It's horrendous.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Gross.
It's exactly what it sounds like, but with skin instead of a glove.
Is that like an actual thing?
Oh yeah,
Or-
like you can, like your finger can get degloved. So like, let's say you get it caught like in some sort of machine or something, and it's enough. It's like not enough to rip off your finger, but it'll just like take all the skin off in one.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a real thing.
that's so gross.
Listen, I had to deal with Natalie Portman ripping a hangnail last week. I can't deal with this week.
Let's just become a body horror podcast.
No.
We'll watch The Thing next week. But yeah, I think that this quote, and then specifically with the psychiatrist and the captain of Icarus One, seeing kind of the different stages of their transformation, I really, really, really like the way that that's put. They said the passive act of contemplation becomes the interactive process of transformation. So where I said it's almost like a cult, where the sun is the cult leader, and it's just like, and it's not an active thing. Like the sun isn't trying to corrupt their brains or transform them into like disciples of light or whatever, but it's happening. And the fact that it happens with two people independently of each other shows that like maybe the sun has some sort of power over us.
Well, and it's actually very believable because like the sun is so far away and like so big and scary and like hard to understand, and you can't get close to it.
Yeah.
And
Think about it's like going to the Grand Canyon, and like you hear about the Grand Canyon, how enormous and beautiful it is. But like, how many people go to the Grand Canyon for the first time and just stare at it?
that's like all you can do.
But no, you know what I
'cause
mean? Like
it's
you can hike and you can walk around and
Well,
blah,
yeah.
blah, but like how many people just look at it?
everybody.
Because there's something like baked into human consciousness that is this fascination with things on an enormous scale, right? Like it's the same thing that like it's so easy to just get lost like looking out at the ocean,
Yeah.
and like the idea of you see like when we were at the Natural History Museum in New York, and they have like a full size model of a blue whale. And you're just like, what on earth? Like that's a real freaking, and you just look at it, you're just blown away by it. So then you blow that up to a cosmic scale, and you know, you see like, oh, like a billion trillion Earths would fit inside the sun, or what, you know, I don't know what the actual number is, but like we can't fathom how big the Earth is. Like we cannot wrap our heads around how large the Earth is, let alone the sun. And you mix that with just like this insane output of light and heat and energy, and you see that scene at the beginning where he's talking to the AI, and he's like, "What brightness am I at?" And he's thinking like 80, and she's like, "You're at what would she say? 2% brightness." He's like, "Let's try 3," and she's like, "You would die." Like you get where the fascination comes from, and like it's just this thing that is impossible to fathom, that is now in front of his face. And so you kind of, I guess, begin to understand how that can warp the mind. And so when the captain of the other ship, you know, says that the sun is his god, like you can kind of understand how he got there.
Yeah.
That's my spiel.
Well, yeah, and like it's so fascinating. Like I could, if I were in this scenario, I could totally see myself like just staying in the observation room or whatever, you know, like just being totally blown away by the sun and what they're doing. So I don't know, it's interesting to see that in a movie.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts on the themes of sunshine. I don't know. I think that's the main theme, and I think it's the most interesting theme, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But what else do we have to say? The music is great.
Yeah.
I did notice that this time, that I don't know that I noticed it another time. The music is awesome in this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I think it was the music that really got me into the movie.
Yeah.
Like when they first see Mercury and they're all watching that.
That scene is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then like I think it's right towards the end when they like launch away from the ship and that music's going. I think, yeah, the music was a really big selling point for me for this one.
And I wish that it lingered more on this. The scene where the payload is going off and Cillian Murphy is just like in front of the wall of the sun. And there's that shot that it's only like 2 seconds, but the camera's behind him and you just see him silhouetted against like the actual sun. Is such a freaking cool shot.
So cool.
And like you get the idea that, I mean, this is something that happened in an instant, right? But his consciousness lingers there for a minute, and you get to experience that with him, and that's awesome. I don't know. This movie is awesome. Like, this movie's really cool.
It is cool. Well, because I don't know that there's another space movie about the sun, you know? Like, not that I know of.
Well, they said that they were hesitant to do this movie because of the movie Solaris, Solaris, which I guess is about the sun and I guess is terrible. So,
interesting fact, that is a remake of an Andrei Tarkovsky film, which we have sitting on our shelf and we have yet to watch because I can never convince Becca to watch Russian movies with me.
Because I don't have time.
Yeah, I didn't know Solaris was about the sun. I thought it was a planet called Solaris.
I don't know. I didn't actually read what the movie's
Doesn't
about.
the remake
so.
of Solaris have George Clooney in it?
Yeah.
I don't know why we did that. I like George Clooney. I don't know. Any other thoughts on this movie?
No.
It's a good one. It's entertaining. You should watch it.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. Do we have any trivia before we get into final thoughts?
Yes.
All right. Let's hear it. Hit me.
After finding how difficult it was to make this, Danny Boyle vowed to never do a sci-fi movie again, which is kind of disappointing because we love sci-fi and we love Danny Boyle.
But like I said, we've entered into the golden age of Danny Boyle. After this movie, we got Slumdog Millionaire, we got 127 Hours, and we got Steve Jobs. Who's complaining?
Kind of good run. Danny Boyle was so impressed with Michelle Yeoh's audition that he just let her choose whatever part she wanted and he said that he would like even change the gender if he wanted one of the men's part. Actual.
That's funny because her performance didn't really do much for me.
I just think it was the
Yeah.
character. I don't think the character
Yeah.
was that fascinating.
She's just in love with her plants.
Yeah, I guess so.
So answer me this though: did the crazy captain take time to pose her like that, or did she sit up?
I assume that she sat up.
She takes
Because
the-
I think she picked the plant
And then
because she was holding it.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Actual sounds received from space were incorporated into the sound design.
Sorry, the sound design in this movie is great as well.
Mhm.
Really, really good.
So the interior of the ship, they purposely made it messy, with a lot of exposed wiring to resemble the exposed nerves of the crew.
Might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit, but
How about the exposed nerves of
ugh. No.
James Franco?
The literal-
27 hours. Seriously, one of the more, probably the most cringe-inducing moment I've ever seen in a movie is when he cuts that nerve. Because the music and the camera and it all just comes together. Oh my gosh, Danny Boyle, you're a genius. I love you.
When promoting Annihilation, Alex Garland revealed that he named the character Harvey after Harvey Weinstein, for his rude and snappy attitude.
Good, they're both pricks.
Very true. So the scene where, what is this? When Mace or Chris Evans is trying to fix the coolant, they like actually put him in cold water so it could like, you know, his breath would show.
That's rude.
Yeah,
Wow.
his teeth were chattering for real in that one. And then
That's funny because that was, I thought I was almost laughing at that part because of his delivery. You need to do it, Kappa. I was like, calm down, dude. Like,
Well, then maybe that's how it actually sounds.
could be. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Real life is rarely glamorous.
It's true. And then last one, they were originally going to give Chris Evans kind of a slow death just to kind of freeze to death. And then seeing just how cool of a character he is, they decided to do like the leg trapping thing and have it get caught on his Chaco. And then that's how he died. So
Just to get caught on his chalk. He gets caught on his knee.
all I could see were those Chacos.
Me too.
Just like,
They were pretty
Why are you wearing
distracting.
Chacos?
You're not going on a hike, buddy.
It like, you gotta think, one of the most important considerations when launching people into space is weight. I can't imagine the flight commander who was like, yep, you can bring your Chacos. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Alright,
it's
Becca.
the Chacos that ruined the mission. They like
They
off
were
balance.
a little bit too heavy.
Yeah. It was his fault all along.
Fun fact, those are the same Chacos worn by Josh Brolin in Sicario.
Doesn't he
Same
wear
pair.
Crocs in those?
No, he wears Chacos.
Okay. I think he wears Crocs in the second one.
It
'Cause-
just
Oh,
totally
boy.
jumps the shark. Okay. Becca, final thoughts and score out of 10.
Okay. Well, like we've said, I think Sunshine is a great movie. Definitely not like my favorite movie by any means, or even my favorite space movie, but it's a great movie about space with some great people and great music. So I really liked it. And let's see. I think I will give it maybe like an 8.4.
Sid?
Yeah, I liked this one. I would probably say that I like probably like 28 Days Later more. But I did really like this one. I think it's very good as a sci-fi. Kind of very different than what you would expect, which I really liked. I thought the performances were pretty good. Music, editing, special effects, I thought it all worked pretty well. I'm going to give this one an 8.2.
Righto, folks. Yeah, this one's good. Like I said, it definitely builds steam as it goes. There's definitely some dialogue, especially towards the front, that's pretty clunky. 35 revisions later. Maybe they only needed 15. And
Yeah.
like as they went, they were like, ooh, let's just make them all really witty. But then they all just kind of suck. Yeah, I like it. I think that the directing in the screenplay are the strongest points, despite the screenplay's weakness. I think that Chris Evans and Cillian Murphy both give great performances. I'm going to give this one an even 8. That puts us at an average of 8.2 for the Weston scale. Right below 28 Days Later.
Seems like a good spot for it.
All three of our Danny Boyles are right together.
8.4, 8.3, 8.2. See, that's the funny thing is, when I say he's my favorite director, I don't mean that he makes my favorite films. I just love his style so much. I think it's really distinctive and unique. We talked about this last week. Becca and I just watched Trainspotting.
Oh yeah, we did.
Where would you put that in the pantheon of David or Danny Boyle movies?
Probably on the low end.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Even though the screenplay in that is so good.
I liked a lot of things about it. I just didn't like it as a whole.
How about Birdman? You're still responsible for the fact that Birdman has an 8.8.
Yeah.
Well, I need to watch it again because I have thought about it a lot since watching it, and it has improved.
Speaking of opinions improving over time.
Revisionist corner.
It's time for some revisionist corner. We don't have a sound for this.
We're just gonna. Ooh. That's
Okay,
it.
That's revisionist corner. I, as you do, got lost last night in the bottomless pit that is scrolling Facebook videos. Now, I need to preface this a little bit. I have never sat down to intentionally watch The Big Bang Theory. I have watched a handful of episodes of How I Met Your Mother, and I avoid Young Sheldon like the plague. But somehow, I still end up watching like 15 clips from those 3 shows a day on scrolling Facebook videos. And they're not funny, and I don't enjoy them. But I'll start out watching some like video making fun of SoundCloud rappers or something, and then all of a sudden it's How I Met Your Mother clips. I don't understand. Or I ended up watching New Girl clips, and that was painful. That show looks terrible.
I like that show.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I think that Zoe Deschanel kind of bugs me, if I'm being honest
I
with
can see that.
That's fair.
you. But every once in a while, you stumble upon a gem. There's a guy out there, and he does these drumming videos, kind of in the vein
Oh,
of
I think I've seen this.
the Birdman drumming, where he'll like take dialogue and drum behind it, and it's genius. This is just an example of finding a gem in scrolling Facebook videos. I ran into a Facebook page that takes the screenplay of a movie and scrolls it in the bottom half of the screen. I don't know what the page is called. I didn't end up liking the page.
Script to screen.
Maybe, who knows?
Okay.
So they have the screenplay of the movie scrolling in the bottom half of the frame and the actual movie in the top. And it was a breakdown. It was like a 5-minute scene from The Social Network. And I gotta say, I think I was entirely too harsh on that movie. I think, and maybe it was just that one scene is so good, but it was able to pull me in like 10 seconds. And I could have, if it was kind of one of those things that like, if you're flipping through the channels and Die Hard is on, you have to watch Die Hard. If I was just watching TV and I happen to be, which I watches TV, and I happen to be flipping through and The Social Network was on, I think I would be forced to sit down and watch it. I think it's a very engrossing film, and I don't know that we gave it enough credit for that. And I'm sure that we talked about how good the screenplay is, but gosh darn is the screenplay good. But on top of that, Andrew Garfield's performance is stellar, and I don't know if we gave him enough credit for that. So my revisionist corner is basically, I think that we were maybe, I can't give it a new number because I don't remember what my original number was. We put it at a 7.7, on par with Batman Begins. And I think that's a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lower than Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that The Social Network is a very good movie, and I think maybe early on in our podcasting career, we were, I guess, trying to not just gush praise on everything and felt like we needed to give it a lower score.
But also, it is a biopic, so maybe you just don't like them.
It's a courtroom drama though.
That's true.
Like, it's about real people, but because it doesn't follow, like, it's not like about Mark Zuckerberg even.
Yeah.
It's about this conflict between Eduardo and Mark. I don't know. My revisionist corner is as simple as this. I think we were too harsh on The Social Network. I think it's better than a 7.7, and I think that we probably didn't give Andrew Garfield enough praise for his performance.
All right.
Yeah.
Because
Probably.
the scene that they broke down was the scene where he shows up at the Facebook offices right after Mark has diluted his stock.
I actually watched that clip.
Did
that
you?
same script to screen. Yeah.
Thank you, Facebook scrolling videos. And he walks in and Justin Timberlake is like, oh no, he's plugged in.
Mm.
And Andrew Garfield kills that scene. He smashes the laptop. Are you plugged in now? And then the directing in it, I guess this is directing and editing. The editing in that movie is fantastic. The way that it flips back and forth between the courtroom scenes and the actual scenes, specifically in that one, because it goes back and forth, and then the interviewer, the person doing the deposition is, you know, what were Mark's shares diluted down to? They weren't. And what were Justin Timberlake's shares diluted down to? They weren't. And she asked him like 4 or 5 people, and she's like, and what were your shares diluted down to? And he's like, 0.003%. And like that delivery and the directing and the edit, that's. And the thing is I don't remember that scene being significantly better than the rest of the film. So if that scene is that good, it stands to reason that we were probably too harsh on The Social Network.
Oh, you may have to give that one another go.
All right.
That is my revisionist corner.
That's a good revisionist corner.
Also, go look up the guy who does the drumming underneath the dialogue because it's incredible.
Yeah, I saw him do it to a clip from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I think that we just watched the same Facebook video.
Probably. It was the one with Charlie explaining his theory about the mail.
Oh, no. I
Is
watched
that-
the one where Dennis is selling his car.
No, yeah, I saw the one on Twitter. It was him explaining his theory. It was so funny.
I don't know. I wish I could give that guy credit
Oh my
because he's
gosh.
fantastic. All right. Moving on to our last and final segment. Other topics. The Oscars just happened. And Green Book took home the award for Best Picture.
I know I don't swear too often on this podcast, but I just have to let it out. What the shit? I'm so mad. And like, it's honest, my heart rate is up right now. I screamed when I found out that they won.
Were you not watching it?
No, I did.
Oh.
I screamed. I think I scared my family a little bit because they were just like, well, I'm going to go to bed now. But then the next day I like went to my workout, and I'll tell you, it was one of the best workouts I've had in a while because I was so frustrated. But there were just like, there are on so many different levels why this was undeserving of a win. And it's so frustrating to just even think about. Ugh. I have a lot of feelings about this.
So I actually I did some research into this, and I think I touched on this in our pre-Oscar episode. But the way that Best Picture is decided is just a joke. Mm-hmm. So every single other award is based on popular vote, which still doesn't explain how Bohemian Rhapsody won sound editing and mixing over First Man.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd get upset about the sound editing Oscar.
I know.
Like, great job, guys! You press play on a Queen song.
Yeah.
Really well done. I'm sure Brian May and Roger Taylor are very happy with you. So every single other Oscar is determined on a popular vote. Whoever gets the most votes wins. Now, the Best Picture is decided on a ranked choice. Mm-hmm. So every member of the Academy lists their Oscar. They list the Best Picture nominees in order from best to worst, and the company that does the accounting or the ballot counting puts them into piles. Let's say your list could be entirely different from somebody else, but if you have the same number one choice, you go into the same pile. So you go into piles based on what your number one choice is, right? Now, if that pile accounts for over 50% of the vote, then that movie wins. If it does not, then the pile with the least amount of votes gets removed. They essentially scratch out their first choice, and the second choice of everybody in that group becomes their first choice, right? So let's say the lowest number of votes went to Vice, right? And the highest number, and like Roma got 48%. But 55% of people put Green Book as their second choice, then Green Book wins. So the pile that has the lowest number of votes gets removed. They scratch out that number one and resort the ballots based on their number two. If the biggest pile accounts for more than 50%, then that movie wins. If it still doesn't, then again, the smallest is removed. Any movies that have been removed from the running are then scratched out, and your highest remaining vote becomes your vote for Best Picture. And the piles are resorted until a single pile accounts for over 50% of the votes.
It's ridiculous.
That's so stupid.
So that's how you can end up with the extremely safe pick of Green Book winning over something a little more adventurous like Roma or The Favorite or even A Star Is Born. Mm-hmm. Which I think A Star Is Born would have been an incredibly safe pick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
way better.
Like A Star Is Born is a lot of things. It's not edgy.
Yeah.
The Favorite's edgy.
Like, I would have been disappointed if A Star Is Born won, but I wouldn't have been mad like I am about Green Book.
I think I would have been happy if
I'd have been totally fine with A Star Is Born.
won. Like, that would be my second pick, I think, after Roma.
I also just love this picture of them accepting the award for Best Picture.
Oh, I know.
And it's this freaking story about racial inequality and bridging the gap and overcoming our differences. And it's just a stage full of white dudes.
Yeah. And then there's Octavia Spencer and Mahershala, and then some black guy that they were probably just like, hey, we have too many white guys. Will you come up with us?
Right? Like, it's just... And I think the epitome of this movie is the fact that in the acceptance speech, the producer thanked Viggo Mortensen, but not Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
He said, this movie wouldn't have happened without Viggo Mortensen.
That's really just showing on what this movie is about. It was
not a labor of love, folks. Let's just put it that way.
It was about Viggo Mortensen's character, and it's written by three of the people who wrote it, all white guys. One of them was his son. Yeah. So they don't care about Mahershala.
Well, and didn't the family of Mahershala Ali's character like come out and be like, this is entirely erroneous? They didn't consult his family at all. So it's
wow.
It's pretty much just like, oh, this one white guy liked this one black guy.
And
isn't
even,
racism bad?
Go back and watch the videos of Alfonso Cuarón winning Best Director and this winning Best Picture. When Alfonso Cuarón, it's so funny because when the Oscars posted stuff to their Instagram story, I don't know if you noticed this, but they posted a video of all of the awards that Alfonso Cuarón won, and so they posted like videos of like Alfonso Cuarón winning all three of his awards, and Olivia Colman winning hers, and Rami Malek winning his. But then there were others where they just posted like a picture.
I noticed that it took them a while to post anything about Green Book.
Yeah,
like it was like a full day later.
Yeah, and it was totally the ones where the crowd didn't give a crap.
Yeah.
So like Alfonso Cuarón wins Best Director and the crowd freaks out. Olivia Colman wins and the crowd freaks out. Everybody loves it. I still remember when it was announced. They're like, and the winner is Green Book, and people were like,
yeah. Did you hear that Spike Lee tried to leave the theater?
Yeah, he tried to walk out.
Like, that's amazing. Did you see his like interview afterwards?
Yeah, and he's like, I just lose to people driving other people around.
It's true. But then they asked him like, what do you think about Green Book? And he's like, let me take another sip. And he just like chugs his champagne. And then he's like, next question.
Here's the thing. I was pretty vocally not the biggest fan of BlacKkKlansman.
I still would have been way more happy about that one.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was
Any other movie.
the sentiment that I saw
Except for
repeated
Bohemian Rhapsody.
over and over. But even that, like even Bohemian Rhapsody or Black Panther winning, like at least then you get a bit of a shit show on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like freaking Green Book winning is just the most boring outcome that we could have asked for.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have been worse than Green Book winning would be Vice winning. Because like at least
I forgot about.
I always
right?
forget about that one.
At least we get why Green Book won, right? Because
Yeah.
it I saw this. I wish that I had it pulled up. There's this really great breakdown of it that somebody did on Reddit that basically said that Green Book is a movie made by white people to make white people feel better about their racism,
Yeah.
right? And so like we get why Green Book was made
Mm-hmm.
and why it won. And I get, sorry, not made. I get why Vice was made, but if Vice had won, it would have just been like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Green Book is just like it's like the crowd when it was announced. They're just like, oh,
Okay, I guess.
sure.
Sure.
Like if Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody wins, at least you get something to argue about.
Yeah.
But like with
Yeah.
Green Book, we're left with the most boring outcome, and that's what the ranked voting system gives us is
Mhm.
the safest, most boring outcome, and it blows my freaking mind that The Shape of Water managed to win
I
with
know.
that
Yeah.
with that voting system. And maybe it's just because it was so kooky that it was everybody's fourth choice. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's so frustrating because you just want it to be based solely on which is just cinematically better, and Roma is the best one.
Which is why it should be popular vote. Just like every
Yeah.
other, either do everything ranked choice or
That's
do
so weird.
everything.
Like, what's their
popular
reasoning
vote.
behind that? Like,
I
why
don't
make it more
remember.
complicated for themselves?
It's like it's because I don't know. It's because there's more nominees or something like that. I don't know.
What?
Whatever. It's stupid.
It's so dumb.
The Academy is dumb.
It really is, but I love the Oscars.
I would like to
though.
hear from our listeners about any other film awards that might have a little more integrity than the Academy.
So the thing is, like, I hear about a lot of the other awards that like get it right.
Because I didn't think the Golden Globes were particularly good this year.
No, I heard that the Spirit, was it the Spirit Awards? There was one awards that's like the day before the Oscars that was really good, but they're just not as prestigious as the Oscars, so no one cares.
The Screen Actors Guild Awards
Yeah,
are
that's
usually
the one.
pretty good.
Because
I have heard about the Spirit Awards.
it's either Screen Actors or Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because the Screen Actors Guild is it's voted for by actors.
Mm-hmm.
So, do with that what you will.
As long as we all know in our heart that Roma is the better movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, still, Alfonso took home 3 Oscars.
Mhm.
Good for him.
Should have been 4, but
He deserved all of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even like, it was so funny. Every time he walked up to the stage, Mahershala Ali stopped him and hugged him.
I love that.
I love Mahershala Ali.
I'm fine with him winning. He's great.
Yeah, I
He's
got no problem with that.
shoot, what was I? Oh, so after I found out about Green Book winning, I was going
Mhm.
off on a rant, and I like turned to my brother and I was kind of yelling, but I was just like, "This is just like a few years ago when Crash won," and my brother's like, "What? What's Crash?" And I was like, "Exactly."
When you say a few years ago, you mean 13 years ago.
I am the oldest person alive. Oh my God.
I've never seen Crash.
I've never seen it. I don't.
But a lot
wanna
of
see
people
it.
were comparing this to the Crash win.
Yeah, and it's just so frustrating.
See, that's the funny thing is like, I'm gonna not go off the top of my head. So hang on. It's funny because like, let's see. Come on, USA Today. Your website is great. Oh, it's got the newest ones at the top. Like, it's so crazy because you have to really go back to 2013. I think 2013 is in the same category as this,
Yeah, I could see that.
as far as like Argo just being kind of a boring pick. It's
Mhm.
not a bad movie.
But it's just they're better ones.
It's not Best Picture.
Yeah.
But like going back, you got Shape of Water, Moonlight, Spotlight, Birdman, 12 Years a Slave. Like that was your run of Best Picture winners. You're telling me that Green Book is in the same category as those movies, or even like The Hurt Locker or Slumdog Millionaire,
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men, The Departed, $1 Million Baby, Return of the King, Beautiful Mind, or Gladiator, Titanic. You're telling me that Green Book is as good as Titanic? No chance, folks.
Oh my gosh.
Schindler's List.
Oh my gosh.
Silence of the Lambs.
Ugh. This is
Amadeus. I'm going to where I'm no longer familiar with movies. Yeah, the 70s I check out.
but yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You're telling me that Green Book. This is what the ranked voting gives us. I don't know.
that's so stupid.
Bleh. That's my overall reaction. Just bleh.
Mine's just screaming. That's just my reaction.
Some highlights though.
There were what they
Alfonso
got
Cuarón-
good
Alfonso Cuarón.
was good.
That's what I'm saying. It was so 50-50
Yeah.
It really was.
between just being like a pick and
Yeah.
like all right, yes, the actual person won.
Yeah.
Alfonso Cuarón won 3. Olivia Colman won.
I was so happy about that.
Um,
Her acceptance speech was amazing.
That was amazing.
First Man won Best Visual Effects. I
Uh-huh.
would have given it to Infinity War, but I have no problem with First Man. The
Not
moon
fan of
landing scene was stunning.
Uh-huh.
You have, I guess, Green Book got screenplay.
Spider-Man.
You got Spider-Man winning.
Yeah, very
Such
excited.
a surprise.
Like I was even fine with like there were a few ones that like Black Panther won
Yeah, like production design.
that I was just kind of
costume
like
design.
okay.
Black Panther won Best Score.
I know I was kind of surprised by
Which
that,
makes
but
no sense.
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, what they got right, they got it pretty right. What they got wrong, they got it really wrong.
Yep.
And like
100%.
best editing for
For
Bohemian Rhapsody. Are you kidding me?
Who picked that?
Who? I saw a video and they were like, okay, well this is how we do like the CGI of the crowd, which we talked about on that one episode.
It's
That looks like crap.
atrocious.
But then they're like, oh, and then we have to edit each scene and then we have to put this in. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe it's kind of impressive for one scene, but the whole movie is just garbage. You can't base it off one good scene.
I saw it. Was it in that Patrick H. Williams video that he was talking about
No.
how bad the editing is in Bohemian
Oh,
Rhapsody?
he did make a point that like it's bad because they wanted to equally represent
Yeah, they
every
wanted
character.
to give every band member equal time, even though it's
Yeah.
a Freddie Mercury biopic. And this is the problem with having the other members of the band be executive producers of the movie.
Yes.
Brian May
Which
and
is-
Roger Taylor are the biggest reasons why Bohemian Rhapsody sucked.
Which is probably why the new Elton John movie's not going to be that great either.
Is Elton John an executive producer?
I don't know. But I kind of feel like, I mean, they definitely did that with Straight Outta Compton too. They like really sugared it down.
Yeah, Ice Cube was played by Ice Cube's son.
Yeah. But just like, honestly, I don't really feel like you can get an accurate depiction of someone's life if they're still alive.
You're probably right.
Because,
Only make biopics about dead people.
yeah.
Speaking of,
What?
moving on to
Who's
other
dead?
movies that we've watched. I watched The King's Speech.
Okay, what'd you think?
I still feel secure in saying that Black Swan is my favorite movie of that year. But, especially for it being a biopic, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really like that one actually.
I don't think that it was the best picture winner, but again, we have our ranked choice voting, and
Mhm.
it's not the worst thing that could have happened. Colin Firth did an astounding job. Definitely best actor. Best directing, yeah. And best screenplay. The screenplay was really good.
Yep.
I think that it took a really unexpected path to, I guess, get across what it was trying to get across. And I think it explored some really interesting things as far as the loneliness of leadership goes, and kind of how alienated Colin Firth's character felt, and how, Jeffrey Rush's character was able to help him cope with that and his newfound responsibilities. And yeah,
I think that's a good one.
it was good. I
Yeah.
don't think that it was like, I'd give it like an 8.
Yeah.
But I would give Colin Firth's performance like a 10.
Yeah.
He
He's-
does an astounding job.
Really good in that one.
Also, Helena Bonham Carter not playing a quirky weirdo. So thank you, I guess, for that. And then last night, I got to finish it today because I fell asleep. I started watching Noah
Oh, okay.
from Darren Aronofsky.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what to think.
I kind of forget about that one a lot.
I'm just trying to work my way through his movies right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just, Noah is out of the new ones, the one I haven't seen. So then
Mhm.
I'm going to go back and watch The Fountain and The Wrestler next.
I mean, I haven't seen Noah, but I kind of feel like it's like right in between him trying to do like a blockbuster and him trying to do like what he's good at and like it's like the artsy kind of stuff.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's not bad. It's just really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mother's better. I like the movie Mother. Don't tell anybody. I enjoy it. Good time watching it. Becca, you've been pretty busy, right? Have you really watched anything?
I have not watched anything.
We are caught up on The Bachelor.
Yes, we are. That's the only thing I've watched this week. Literally, no TV, nothing else. Just The Bachelor.
But The Bachelor. Priorities.
Yep.
About you?
I watched Stalker yesterday, which I liked it, but I don't know. It's just so abstract that it's hard to really form an opinion on it. I don't know. Okay, I did really like it. It was very hard to get through.
That's fair.
But like the scenes where something was actually happening, like the end when they're kind of arguing about the bomb, that was a great scene. I really liked that one. But then there's just, I don't know. It was just like the in-between moments that were really hard to get through.
Really?
Yeah.
I think my opinion on that movie, if you make it through the first 40 minutes, you're in.
Yeah, I definitely felt like once they actually got to the zone and like were walking around, like getting in there, it definitely got better.
Maybe not even the first 40 minutes. Just once they get past that, the military camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like once they get past that, because that scene of them in the rail car, where it transitions from the sepia to the color, is just
Cool.
an absolutely astounding shot.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty great.
So long.
Mm-hmm.
It holds for so long, and it's so hypnotic. The sound of the rail car movie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I feel like if I could watch this movie in like 30-minute increments, I would like it a lot better. So like I could watch 30 minutes and the next day I watch the next 30.
I can see that.
Because it's, you just watching it and admiring the craft of it and have it being like this long of a shot is great. But after 18 shots like that, it gets a little bit hard to keep up with it.
I would love to do an episode on Stalker because we're already an hour and a half at this point right now on this episode, so I don't want to get into it. Stalker is such an astoundingly good movie.
No, I mean, I can definitely see why it's regarded as such a great movie and why you like it so much, but I think it would take another go for me to really form a strong opinion on that one.
Maybe you could actually give it back to me.
Yes, I will next week. Chill out. What, are you going to watch it in the next week?
I might.
Well, you're just going to have to wait.
All right.
And then I watched Lorena, the documentary.
Quite good.
I loved that.
It was quite good, right?
It was really good.
Oh, sorry, not to get it. I watched Wild Wild Country on Netflix.
What's that one?
It's about this cult in Oregon.
Uh-huh.
You should watch it.
Okay.
I don't want to give anything away. It's really good.
Okay. I think, have I heard anything about that one? But yeah, I'm like trying to get more into documentaries and docuseries, but they're just a little bit hard. But Lorena was really good.
Lorena was very good.
Very good. If you want to see a severed penis, give it a go.
Probably the only way to do it without getting on some FBI watch list.
Oh my gosh, did you finish it?
Yeah.
He is the biggest idiot in the entire world.
Oh yeah.
He's so stupid. Like at the beginning I was like, oh, she's just crazy. And then like, she starts talking and then it's just like the stuff he did after the trial that is
You mean porn?
mind-boggling. Oh, I'm going to get a penis extension. Freaking idiot. I'm going to almost murder this girl.
He lives the dream, man. He's
so stupid.
He lives the dream. He's a man who's able to make his entire life entirely about his penis. Which is the true and secret desire of every man.
Oh my gosh. What
All
an
right.
idiot.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, Becca is abandoning us, so we might be gone for a couple weeks.
Yes.
Lame.
But I realized that I never uploaded the episode about The Big Short.
Ah.
So I'm going to have to throw that up.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that's it for us. We love you. If you want to get in contact with us, facebook.com/we watch movies and then talk about them. Instagram at Movies We Watch. You can slide into the DMs with any suggestions for movies you'd like to hear us talk about. And that's it. I am Andrew.
I'm Becca.
I'm Sid.
And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.